Let's talk about areas to invest, yeah, because I think this is really important. And I think that the thing for me is, whatever happens, there's still going to be opportunities. And I think that's one of the keys here. Look, I would love to say that, just go out and buy whatever. But I don't think that's the case anymore. I think the trend now in the UK is that the towns, the fundamentals just aren't there. There's not the money getting spent. There's not the change, fundamentals. It's just not a functioning market anymore. So you've got to be really, really careful. Now, sure, if you're just going for a cheapy, best yields, strategy, fine. Okay, go out of that cheapy stuff. But certainly, I like to have both. I like to have the yield and I like to have the capital growth potential. Because yes, you may go, well, I'm making this much and I'll pay my property off in 10 years, but you're going to pay it off in 25 years. Well, actually, yeah, I am, but then I could probably sell it because of capital growth, So it depends on your strategy. And, if you want to know about strategy, chat to the team. You can go to gladfish.com/portfolio-management, book a portfolio strategy meeting with the team and they can go through whatever, the current market strategy, all that. So where should we invest? I am a big, and if you look at where we're sourcing now, and I'm being really, really pig-headed about this, even to the point of where, some clients are like, well, I don't want to buy in those areas because I want something cheap, and I'm like, I'm not going to source in that area because I know the quality of the stuff, But, London always, if we do go into this, it bounces back the quickest, because it has the best fundamentals. There's huge amounts of money, regeneration getting spent. There's all sorts of stuff like that. And I think that's really key and really essential with this. Look, so there's that element. There's the other element, which is Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool, those sort of places, which are your major cities. And I always say major cities with universities, okay? One of the things I'm one of the things I'm really impressed with is back in 2012, okay, when I first moved to Singapore, we were talking about London being the world city. Yeah, London being a world city. It still is. But now Manchester and also Birmingham have both been added to that list. Yeah. And to a degree, Liverpool, but not as much Liverpool. Okay. So those areas, you've got to be, you've still got to be careful. And the other side of it is, so there's the area you want to invest, but there's the type of developer you want to invest with and the type of, if you've got an existing property, fine, get it inspected, make sure you get rid of all the problems, and you know of those before you invest. If you're talking about new build, go with your proven developers that have got a track record of experience and do your due diligence. And if you do that, you should be relatively fine. Yeah. You can negotiate now, but obviously, some developers are, a bit confident. But the one good thing about this whole thing is that with the relaxation of the planning things, what's actually happened is lots and lots of sites now are being bought out and getting converted to properties that are in the town centres. So the town centres are going to change from where, high streets were desolate, boarded up and all that sort of stuff. Now there'll be a renaissance, if you like, of the high street. Not in retail. Yeah, retail's moved out. Yeah, now it's all about, distribution to get to the where people live quicker, and that's part of what Amazon, and their success is. But certainly in the high street, what's happening now is a lot of those commercial buildings are getting converted to residential through permitted development. So the government is relaxing the rules, but you know what? This is the stupid thing is the relaxation of the rules isn't actually in such a way whereby that, you still have to go through and meet various requirements. It's not as simple. I think people think with permitted development and with developing now, it's like they've relaxed the rules. Oh yeah, we're just going to go and build whatever we want. No, you still have to meet minimum requirements, fire standards, building standards, codes, all this sort of stuff. You still have to meet all of that stuff. Yeah. It just means that you don't necessarily have to go through the whole process of a full planning application. Okay. So there's still a lot to do. It's not an easy process. And, this is where I find some of these weekend warriors. And what I mean by that is these guys that go along and think, I'm going to become a property developer. I'll send a weekend course. And now I'm a property developer. Let me go and find a property. And, and they just think it's easy. And it's not. So you got to be careful with a lot of those developers that are just starting out, because even if they're on their first or second or third, they may not have learned the lessons and they probably haven't lived through, the ups and downs of the cycles and the fact that, look, one of the interesting things is, look, bottom line is what we're going to see is this, yeah? Right now, lots and lots of permitted development happening. Yeah, lots and lots of sites getting snapped up. Now, what happens is they then put it into the architect, they get it all done, and now they start building it. Yeah. So what happens when they start building it? When all these people start building new homes, all of a sudden there's a labour shortage, because guess what we did with Brexit? And guess what we did with immigration? All the cheap labour went back to Europe. And so now what's going to happen is build costs are going to go up. And a lot of those builders won't have accounted for that, and they won't, have allowed a margin enough for that. And then potentially they'll either decrease the quality of their stuff, which means you end up with a crappy property, or they just will go bust and somebody else will have to take it over and build it out. So, but then what will happen is then you'll have all these come to the market, and that market will then drive things up. But, that's a good functioning market, and you expect that. Okay. So for me, the market actually is functioning really well. It's, yes, there was some pent up demand. Yes, there's some stamp duty stuff, but the stamp duty stuff, it will end and the market will continue. And I don't think we're going to see 30% drops like some people say. I just don't. Now, interesting, Ritesh has just written, should I expect 10 to 20% discounts? I don't think so. I think if a couple of the worst case things hit, we go back into lockdown, construction sites, and it gets really bad and we don't find a vaccine, well into next year, then potentially, there will be some desperate, things. But I think we're likely to sit around, like where we are now is probably the 5 to 10%, is what you can realistically expect. And I think that's where it's going to sit, because most developers are happy to sit at that. Before Brexit or during Brexit, they were selling at this level. And so actually now, they've been selling at that level. Now, sure, it's slowed down for a little while, but for the most part, they haven't needed to give away the big discounts. And we're not seeing that, which, is actually, I think a good thing, So guys, any other questions? So that's my, hopefully that's, a bit of a summary for today, or for this month. Look, what do I think? I think right now, things are looking pretty good when they could have been absolutely a shambles. Yeah. And I think that realistically is we had austerity followed by Brexit. And then all of a sudden we had, new government come in that said, no, you know what? Now we're going to spend money. Now, originally they said that without the coronavirus being there. So there's been a lot of money spent on coronavirus, but they've still maintained their commitment and their willingness and, to actually keep doing that, which is great news. Okay. So I think that's absolutely essential, and I think that's where we have to really, count our blessings for that thing, because I think really that will see us through. Now, will we hit, a lot of people saying, but then we'll get into the, the winter period and things will drop off. Yeah, they will, but that's normal. That's the market. They do drop off. So I think that's one of the keys too, is we will see this spring bounce, this August, massive, jump. That's going to wane now. But don't think that's a wane because of coronavirus or anything else. That happens every year. November, December, January are always dead. February, even into February a little bit, starts to pick up again. But, it's not until realistically March, April, where things now go and we have the spring bounce. Okay. So, guys, hopefully that gives you a bit of a, indication of where the property market is and my thoughts for this month of September. And, we'll watch the news, and the stats that come out, on consumer spending, on redundancies, on unemployment, and all these sort of things, and keep you up to date. But yeah, any other questions, post them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them.